Alrighty, Anthony Taylor here live in the Upper Cumberland Weather Studio with an update on our storm situation this afternoon. We'll go straight to radar here, and you can see this will be our event right here. It's shaping up west of Nashville, west of the I-65 corridor. As of right now, there are no warnings in effect. However, we do anticipate as this line moves towards the east, you see here in the Upper Cumberland region, most of the rain and storms has come to an end. That's allowing all of this rich Gulf moisture instability to begin lifting into the Upper Cumberland, destabilizing our atmosphere, at least to some degree, which is not great news. So that's what we're going to be watching for, though, over the next few hours as this line begins to move towards the east. We can see discrete supercells form along this line, capable of producing damaging wind gusts in excess of 60 and in some cases maybe even 70 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts, especially for areas south of I-40. We'll get to that here in a second with the outlook. Large hail and of course the potential for a few tornadoes. A tornado watch was recently issued. It's in effect until, let's see, the official time on that I believe is 9 p.m. Central Time. So 9 p.m. is the expiration of that tornado watch. You see it scrolling at the bottom of your screen. So this could be a long afternoon and evening of severe weather coverage for us here. It's just kind of a wait and see deal right now. At the moment, we have no active warnings here in our viewing area. And again, these storms are setting up west of the I-65 corridor. The Weather Service is putting out advisories for these as they begin to strengthen and are encountering a more storm-friendly environment, again, as all that instability begins to lift northward. So right now, we'll go over and look at the Storm Prediction Center outlook. We'll start with the day one outlook. This is issued current as of 11:30 this morning. The latest outlook has a moderate risk expanded farther north to now include southern areas of the Upper Cumberland region. So DeKalb, White, Cumberland, Warren, and Van Buren counties are included in this risk area, this moderate risk, level 4 out of 5. Farther north, the rest of us are in the level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk. Don't pay attention to where the colors are. Don't focus too hard on that. Just know that there is an elevated risk of severe weather for the entire Upper Cumberland region for this afternoon and evening. We'll go through the specific threats again. The threat of a tornado occurring within 25 miles of any location is about 10 to 14%. That's the probability, again, of a tornado occurring within 25 miles of you. So if you plot your location on a map and you draw out a radius 25 miles in diameter, that is the probability of a tornado occurring, again, within that radius of you, 10 to 14% probability. And there is also a 10% or greater probability of that tornado being long track EF2 or stronger. So again, we have some concern for that. The wind probability has increased for those in the moderate risk, especially south of I-40. We are now at a 45 to 59% probability of damaging winds occurring within 25 miles of any location. So that's a pretty significant bump in the wind probability, damaging winds, and there's a greater than 10% probability those winds could be hurricane strength, 74 miles per hour or greater. So 70 to 80 mile per hour damaging wind gusts are possible. And if you notice, this is north of where that high risk area is. So that's something we're definitely going to have to watch out for here in a few hours as these storms begin to roll into the area. Hail is a much lesser concern. It's a pretty standard risk of hail, 5 to 14% probability of hail for northeastern areas, 15 to 29% probability of hail for our southwestern area. So hail not being as great of a concern, but some of these cells could contain some large hail. So that is something we'll have to watch out for as well. Let's go to the latest model data. This is the HRRR, and let me reset this locally to give y'all a better view. This is what we can expect radar to look like over the next few hours. So all that morning shower storm activity has lifted north of us. By 3 p.m., it's going on 2 o'clock right now. By 3 p.m., the leading edge of those storms crossing the I-65 corridor, entering western areas of the Upper Cumberland between 4 and 5 p.m., potentially impacting Cookeville around 5 p.m. or so, and moving on to the plateau around 5 to 6 p.m. And we could still have some additional convection all through this evening, even 8, 9, 10, even 11 p.m. This model still picking up on some potential heavy convection, some stronger storm cells. I think at that point our tornado threat may well, I don't know. It may be diminishing at that point. There are indications we could still have a little bit of fuel left for a potential tornado at that point, but a damaging wind threat will still be in place, as well as flash flooding. We are also worried about flash flooding. You can see areas northwest of us. I know Sumner County is included in a flash flood warning, as well as Wilson County. We'll have to see what will happen as we go through time. We could have additional flash flood warnings issued here across the Upper Cumberland region specifically. But again, it's going to be a long afternoon and evening. We still have probably about 2 more hours or so to go before these storms begin impacting our western areas. And again, that would be areas like Carthage, Hartsville, Lafayette, down into Smithville, perhaps McMinnville. And these storms will have a northeastward movement to them. The line as a whole is going to be moving from west to east, but the individual storms will be moving from southwest to northeast. So again, from about 4 to 7 p.m. or so, we're going to have storm, and we could again have additional convection on into the late evening hours. I think by midnight, though, our severe weather threat should be coming to an end as these storms move into East Tennessee. So again, we got a long duration event. I think our prime window, though, is probably going to be 4 to 9 p.m. or so, but we'll just kind of have to play it by ear from there to see if we have any continuation of that threat. So hopefully that answers any questions about timing for y'all. Again, we'll go back through this again. So we'll back this up by around 4 p.m. or so is when we expect these storms to begin arriving to our western areas. Into Cookeville, maybe by around 5 p.m. or so, maybe a little thereafter, and onto the plateau around 6 to 7 p.m. So hopefully you know where you are on this map. You should know where you are. And again, this is just an estimated guess based on model data. A lot of different information being taken in by these models, and this is not exact. So don't take this as the gospel. This just gives you an idea of what radar could look like. And these storms could be rough. We do have that potential for severe weather in place. We're going to take a look at a couple other things here. What we're really looking for is the ability for these storms to become surface-based. So far today, these storms have been elevated. So we've had a lot of lightning, a lot of heavy rain, some gusty winds, maybe even a few instances of small hail, but these storms haven't been able to root down at the surface level. So we've not seen rotation with them. We've not seen damaging straight line winds, that sort of thing. But we do have surface-based instability expected to rise up into the region. According to this model run, we'll look at the surface-based cape, your storm fuel, your instability. And we do see those levels ticking upward around 4 or 5 p.m. 3 to 400 on your cape there. That's enough that's a convective available potential energy. And that is sufficient to perhaps produce a damaging wind and tornado threat, with those storms becoming, again, more surface-based instead of elevated. So that's why we have the enhanced and moderate risk of severe weather in place as we go through the rest of this afternoon and evening. But we'll go back to radar again. I'll show you all that. Here, again, these storms are just now approaching us, still west of I-65, west of Davidson and Williamson counties. And again, so far, we have no active severe thunderstorm or tornado warnings here in Middle Tennessee, but these storms, again, are going to be encountering an environment that is going to be growing ever more storm-friendly, again, with that surface-based cape making its way into the region, instability levels rising, dew points increasing. So again, we'll have to definitely be on guard, especially if you're along and south of I-40. I think that's where the greatest threat is going to be, especially for those really strong wind gusts, perhaps upwards of 70 to 80 miles per hour plus, which is as strong as a weak tornado. So we could have some wind damage down here. Even north of I-40, there's still a low wind. Again, I wouldn't say low wind, but there's still a pretty decent chance of damaging wind gusts, and can't rule out a tornado or two across the north as well. And all areas, again, we'll go back to that tornado outlook. Again, there is a 10 to 14% probability of a tornado occurring within 25 miles of any location. That's a pretty elevated risk. That risk increases farther south of us. So areas from Columbia to Shelbyville down to Lawrenceburg, Fayetteville, that probability increases to 15 to 29%. And then, of course, once you get into the high risk zone, that's where the trouble is. So here's the Storm Prediction Center outlook. Zoom in on this a bit so y'all can see it better. broad high-risk area defined across central and eastern Mississippi on into western and central Alabama. This includes cities like Tuscaloosa and Birmingham. They are going to be under the gun for a potential tornado outbreak. It's already getting underway in Mississippi. Those cells will be pushing into Alabama this evening. This is why I have been strongly discouraging travel. I know we have half of our school districts here in the Upper Cumberland are on spring break, and that is very concerning to me because I know that means a lot of travel to the Gulf Coast. That's why I've been advertising the last couple of days, hey, if you're traveling to or from the Gulf Coast on Saturday, don't do it. Just wait until either Sunday or do it Friday. Don't go Saturday. So hopefully none of you are putting yourselves at risk, especially your families. If you have kids, you don't need to be doing that. So hopefully y'all heeded my advice on that, anyone who's traveling, especially down to the Gulf Coast, because again, I know there's a lot of travel right now with spring break going on for half our school districts. So again, that has definitely been a concern of mine. We can take a look at these probabilities farther south. There is a 30 to 44% probability of a tornado occurring in that purple shaded area. Again, this is well south of our viewing area, but that gives you an idea of how significant this threat is. This is high-end tornado risk here. Again, well south of us, but we are still in a significant tornado threat even this far north. So again, that's something we're going to be watching for over the next few hours. We can go back to our future radar. Again, this is the ylor. We'll look at this again for those just now tuning into the stream. And again, this is what radar could look like over the next several hours. We have 18Z data just now coming in, so we're still on 17Z for this demonstration. We'll take this full screen so I can get a better look at this. And we're in this area here. So we cover 14 counties officially, the Upper Cumberland region of Middle and East Tennessee, between Nashville and Knoxville. We also provide extended coverage to areas just to our immediate west and east. So Sumner, Wilson, Cannon, Rutherford benefit from extended coverage, especially on days like these, and farther east, Scott, Morgan, Roane, Ray, Bledsoe counties as well to our east. So again, that's our extended viewing area. And then of course, all areas in the middle, that's our immediate viewing area, Cookeville, the surrounding area, Carthage, Lafayette, Byrdstown, Jamestown, Livingston, south to Sparta, McMinnville, and everywhere in between. But again, we'll go through future radar again. Again, this is at 3 p.m. Storms will be crossing the I-65 corridor, which pretty well lines up with radar with what we can see there right now. We'll go back to that real quick. You see those storms again, getting pretty close to I-65. It's 2 o'clock right now. By 3 o'clock, they should be on top or pushing just east of I-65, and that's where we're going to really have to pay attention to those. But farther west, again, is where these storms are moving through right now. By 4 p.m., again, moving into western areas of the Upper Cumberland, Lafayette, Carthage, Smithville, McMinnville. By 5 p.m. or so, maybe 5 to 6 p.m., reaching areas like Salina, Cookeville, Sparta, down into Spencer, and then pushing east from there. Around 6 to 7 p.m., moving across areas like Byrdstown, Jamestown, and Crossville. So, again, those will give you some rough ETAs. Again, I said earlier, this is not the gospel. This is just a rough idea of what radar could look like. I'll show this on screen again, just in case y'all didn't see that. But again, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 p.m. Is when this line will begin to move through. But we could still see convection all throughout the evening, even as late as 9, 10 p.m. ylr model here still picking up some pretty intense cells. These could be rotating potentially, so we'll have to really watch for that. We'll still be in a really juiced up environment with surface-based instability still in place, according at least to this model. So again, it could be a long evening. Now, once we get past midnight, I do think our severe weather threat should come to an end. So this isn't going to be an overnight threat. It's an afternoon through late evening threat that we're looking at. And again, all modes of severe weather are possible. We'll take it back to radar again. As we see these storms approaching Nashville, we have a camera in Nashville now we can take a look at. We'll pull that up now so we can, again, take a look at Nashville right now. That's your live view from Nashville looking west towards downtown. You can see we've had some clearing skies or try to clear out. You know, you see a little bit of sunshine trying to peek through, but there's a shelf cloud off in the distance. There are your line of storms there, the darkening clouds in the background behind downtown Nashville, that is the line of storms. So again, that will be moving east through downtown, and we can reference that camera as needed as these storms push towards the east. The good news is right now, though, we don't have any active warnings here in Middle Tennessee, but I do think that will probably change as we go through the next several hours. So again, here's radar. All these little dots you see are camera sites. These are all our tower cams here in our viewing area that we have. We are now at 20 here in the Upper Cumberland alone. We have 25 more going up in the coming weeks and months, so we're very excited for that. In fact, we can take a look at a few of these cameras if y'all want. We can look at Carthage. That's the view right now in Carthage. Again, nothing happening right now, but again, that will likely change as that camera refreshes. This is a live view right now from Carthage. This is our farthest west view, and we have this pointed looking towards the bluff. I can actually move this around in real time. So we're going to point this more towards Nashville. You'll see the camera move here in a minute, or maybe here in a matter of seconds, actually. You'll see the camera start to rotate. As I move it around, I'm able to control it from my phone, which is pretty cool. It's a PTZ camera. We can see all views around. The only limiting factor is the tower itself that it's mounted to. And this particular camera is located at the 911 building. Used to be the health department over there next to Smith County High School. So again, we'll see that camera move around here in just a moment. Just give it a few. There it goes. So again, we're going to point that towards the west to get a better view of these storms as they begin to move in. But that's the current view there. Right now, at our tower cam site, we don't have the data pointed on this camera here. That's actually coming from the nearest airport in Lebanon. But right now, we're measuring 67 degrees. So temperatures are rising. Dew point is 63. So that instability is beginning to make its way into the region. As you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, we have a regional radar pulled up. That's showing the composite radar image across the Mid-South down into Mississippi and Alabama. That purple shading you see, that is a PDS, particularly dangerous situation, tornado watch. Ours is also a tornado watch. It's not PDS, but the Storm Prediction Center did mention that several tornadoes are likely within the watch area. So this event is just now getting started for us in Tennessee, here in Middle Tennessee specifically. And again, that tornado watch goes until 9 p.m., and that is Central Time. So again, there is your live radar view. So I've rambled on and on. Real quick, I also want to show this screen too. Just so y'all don't know, I'm the only one who runs Upper Cumberland Weather. It's locally owned by me. I created it, built out the studio and everything. But we are 100% community supported by local business partners and the generosity of folks like you. It's greatly appreciated. We held a fundraiser last year to build out this wonderful studio facility. But our business partners, they're our bread and butter. They're the ones that keep us going. They're the ones that allow us to continue growing. We're at the point I need to hire help, but I need to be full-time with this myself. So we're looking for more partners on that. We have premium partnership opportunities. But regardless if you're a premium partner or if you're just a business partner in general, we have advertising to suit any budget. It's prime advertising, and again, we have several different options there. We're looking for large businesses who want to go the extra mile. We have a couple of big projects we're looking at coming up very soon. One will be launching next month, and I can't wait to tell y'all about that. We're looking for a premium partner there, as well as for some other projects as well. So again, if y'all, if you're a big business or if you're a small business, regardless, I want to hear from y'all. And if you don't own a business and you want to support us, though, those methods are at the bottom of your screen there: PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, Patreon. Let me actually go to a different view for this because I think our warning crawl is probably cutting that off. So we'll go there. So there you can get a better view of that. You can screenshot that, take a picture of it. You got PayPal, Venmo, and those are the official accounts. I don't know of any spam accounts out there. Hopefully none get created, but those are the official accounts there. Again, if you feel so inclined, if you don't want to, that's totally fine. Don't want anybody to feel obligated to by any means. But again, those options are there if you are interested. And I'm getting text messages. Matt, yeah, need to reformat this. So actually, we're great minds think alike there. So I got that pulled up there in the double box. So Matt Inyard, he was actually here late last night. We were here about 9 o'clock last night, working on getting couple things knocked out here, hardware related, to make sure everything is running smooth sailing today. So far it is. Knock on wood. Hopefully it continues that way in the studio. Of course, we do have a few bugs to squash. We'll get everything figured out. But I think we're good. I think the audio's good. I think we're in sync. The lips are moving with what I'm saying, so that's good. We're full HD, so I think we're going good. So thanks, Matt, for all your help, and thanks to all of our great supporters and our great business partners as well for your support. Going back to radar again. Just for kicks, Matt wants to know what temperature our graphics card's running at. So I'm going to let him know in real time. Matt, we are running at 55 degrees Celsius, so we're still within the range that we were looking at last night. We were between 52 and 57. We're getting really technical here, IT, but we don't have active severe weather here yet, so we can look at those things. To answer your question, again, we are stable on that particular machine. We're going to look at this advisory here. The Weather Service is putting out advisories for these storms. These are a step below a severe thunderstorm warning. And right now they're advising for wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour and half-inch hail. And again, that is for the downtown Nashville area down into Franklin. So it looks like the Weather Service has issued an update on the wind advisory. You may see that scrolling at the bottom of your screen. So right now these storms are strong, but they are not severe. But again, you notice we have hardly any rain occurring here in the Upper Cumberland. In fact, we can take a look at some of our tower cams. Let's go to Cookeville. Let's see what's happening in Cookeville right now. This may take a second to load the current image. This is a few seconds delayed. That's something we're going to try to iron out here soon so that we get the immediate live view as soon as we pull these cameras up. It's just a technical glitch on our end. I think I have an idea for fixing it. It's just going to probably require another machine, but we'll get it done though. Okay, this may actually be real time in Cookeville. So still kind of cloudy right now, not really seeing any signs of clearing. Maybe the sun trying to peek through some kind of thinnish clouds there, but overall still relatively cloudy. But that doesn't necessarily matter though. We don't have to have the sun necessarily. We just need again for it to be dry without that influence of rain. And again, those gusty winds out of the south at about 20 to 30 miles per hour, transporting all that moisture and instability into the region. Take a look at some other camera sites. We have some new cameras we can take a look at while we have time. We got a camera site here in Alexandria now. It's a low mount. This is actually an experimental site. This is running off solar power and cellular data. This is not connected to any power source as far as external power grid. This is running off solar, and it's also running off a cell tower, I think. That's pretty cool that we have that capability here, courtesy of Cyclone Port Radar Omega, our partnership with them. Another new camera here off Burgess Falls Road. This is at Fire Station 13, southwestern Putnam County, south of Baxter. Pretty good view there to the west. Clark Range, we've shown this camera before, but it's a newer one that's gone up here in the last month or so. There in southern Fentress County. Gentry community of western Putnam County, west of Baxter. We got 4 cameras now covering central and western Putnam County. And we have more on the way, so don't feel like your community is being picked on. Our local EMAs have been behind a lot of this build out. So again, every county in our viewing area should have at least one camera site probably within the next few months. I know Lafayette, Livingston, McMinnville, those are coming. And again, every county should have one soon. Granville, this is over at Wildwood, looking over there at the marina. And again, another great view there looking west. And again, we showed you Nashville. We can look at Nashville now. So several great new sites that have gone up here in addition to our already great sites. We have Salina, Carthage, Cookeville. This was located at the Putnam County EMA there off Willow Avenue. Cool thing is we can rotate this one around. We got it facing west right now, but we can also point it back towards Willow if we want. So I can turn this back around. You should recognize this view, hopefully, if you're familiar with Cookeville. This is looking towards the big cross on the hill, towards the Ford dealership, Ford of Cookeville. And again, that is your view. Again, looking towards the interstate from Cookeville. We'll give that a few moments. That'll update there. And again, we're just playing around with our cameras and stuff right now because again we have no active warnings. What I may do is sign off from this stream here in a little bit after we kind of get through with this update, and then sign back on with coverage. Possibly, I don't know. We may go ahead with full coverage. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. We'll play it by ear for a few moments here, but just kind of go through, show off our equipment, make sure everything's good to go, running smoothly like it's supposed to be. In fact, let's do a test of our green screen real quick while we're here. So we'll go to radar again, and this is one really cool aspect of our new studio is we have a green screen, and we're having issues with that camera again. So there's a couple of technical bugs we still have to work out. The green screen isn't something that's totally essential though, at least today, so that's okay if it's not going to work fully. It's something we can play around with though. Maybe I can fix it on the fly. So we will see if we can't get that active and working. So let's try one more time and see if that'll work. If not, we're not going to worry with it. But yeah, we're having some technical difficulties there. That's okay. Y'all don't have to see. Main thing is y'all can hear me today. That's the big thing. But you know, we have our studio cam too. If it will cooperate. There it goes. All right, we're back. So figuring things out on the fly. That's why I'm live right now, even before we have active warnings here, just to get everything sorted out before these storms arrive. So again, there's your main storm cluster. Again, now approaching downtown Nashville. We can go back to that Nashville camera. Take a look at the view from downtown Nashville again. As these storms approach, you had the sun several minutes ago approaching. You can see now the leading edge of those storms getting very close to downtown. Again, we're looking west. Again, Nashville's just west of our immediate viewing area, but this will give us a pretty good view of these storms before they hit us here. I don't know if Mickey Mouse is coming through the audio. We got my wife, we got Hurricane Hallie in the house today. They're watching the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse in the lounge section of our studio. Got them here. This is a very safe location we're at. We're surrounded by concrete walls, very safe structure. So if we need to take shelter, we can and can do so safely. That's one really great thing about this space. So I want them here with me. This is safer than our house. So I'd rather them be here with me, and they would rather be here with me too. We don't want to be separated. So again, if we got to deal with a little bit of Mickey Mouse in the background, that's totally fine. Not a big deal. So again, that's the view from Nashville right now. Again, as these storms approach. No warnings yet for the Nashville area. Well, there is a flash flood warning in effect, but there are no severe thunderstorm or tornado warnings in effect. But again, that could change as these storms continue to move towards the east. That's something we're going to be watching for. These are very intense storms. So let's take a look at radar again. We'll broaden this out. Right now, several tornado warnings extending down into Mississippi and Alabama. This is going to be a pretty rough day for these folks down here. Pretty rough day, pretty rough afternoon ahead for them. Real quick, let me switch sources here. Again, that's our future radar. Let me pull up the Storm Prediction Center outlook again for today. Again, we are split between an enhanced risk and a moderate risk of severe weather, between a level 3 and a level 4. Don't worry whether or not you're in the level 3. or level 4. Just the overall sentiment is still the same. We all have a pretty decent risk of severe weather in place for this afternoon and evening. So you want to be weather aware. Hopefully you are prepared. We have spent the last few days trying to get you all prepared. So hopefully you have heeded the warnings the last couple of days and are in a safe spot, ready to ride out these storms again as we go through the rest of this afternoon and evening. We're going to go back to radar real quick and take a look at these storms across Alabama and the Mississippi. Again, lots of tornado warnings down here. Curious to see how these storms will behave as they get into Alabama. I know the sun has been out for a good portion of the day across central Alabama. So a very ripe environment. Looks like we have an observed tornado down here near Laurel, Mississippi, south of Meridian. This is in southeastern Mississippi, north of Hattiesburg. So we have a confirmed tornado. Again, this is well outside our viewing area. We're just taking a look at this because we have no active storms here in our region. You can see we do have debris being lofted, it appears, based on the correlation coefficient. That is a tornado debris signature. So, again, very likely a tornado on the ground, again, down there. And this is not in our region. This is, again, down in Mississippi, but another observed tornado near Collins, Mississippi. So they've got it pretty rough down there, and all that's going to be pushing into Alabama here over the next several hours. So if you have friends or family down that way, call them up. They should hopefully be well aware of this threat. But again, let them know what's going on so they are fully prepared and can take shelter if and when needed. Because again, we are looking at a pretty rough go of it down there. Again, looking at Mississippi. Let's see if we can pull up. I know there's some storm chasers in the area. Looks like Brad Arnold's down there. He has a live view of this. We can look at this in real time. This is an actual storm chaser in the area with a direct view of this storm. They may have the issue of these tornadoes being rain wrapped down that way, but you can see it's just a very ominous look here. Again, this is in southern Mississippi. We don't cover this. This is well outside our viewing area. We're just providing this just for informative purposes only. So, again, that is a live view again of a likely tornado crossing in front of a live storm chaser, Brad Arnold, again, near Bay Springs in Mississippi. Have a couple other storm chasers in the area we can take a look at. Again, they are situated in the hot zone, so they're not up our way. Kind of glad we're not down there today, for sure. But we have active weather of our own. And again, that is what we're watching moving into the region right now. So I'm going to take a look at a couple things here real quick. So if you don't hear any audio for a moment, that's why. Looks like we're live on the Hub Plus Roku app right now. We're testing out our live channel, so we stream 24/7 to YouTube, our Upper Cumberland Weather channel. You can see all of our live tower cams there, our radar, all that good stuff. Our local business partners have advertisements there, but we're testing out having the channel also featured on that Roku app, Hub Plus. That's HUB Plus, after WHUB, the radio station. There's a lot of great content there, not just us, but there's some other great content there. Jason and Sheila, their morning show, airs live there each morning, weekday mornings, and you can now find Upper Cumberland Weather there as well. So we're live there. We may also simulcast on the radio too, if needed. So if we have active tornado warnings impacting the region, they may take us on the radio. We'll coordinate that accordingly if the need arises. Right now, we're not on the radio. Now, our forecasts are playing every hour on each of the stations. But again, we can simulcast if needed. Taking a look at some other things right now. Get the latest information from the Weather Service. So, based on current Weather Service thinking, we were looking at the ylor model, wanting to continue the possibility of some intense convection later on this evening, but the Weather Service office in Nashville, their current thinking is this line will probably be it as far as severe weather goes. So once this line clears us, hopefully that'll be it. Can't fully guarantee it, but again, we hopefully we can not be looking at a late evening event. So again, this is still a threat we're going to have to watch through the afternoon. We're not out of the woods, but the Weather Service is at least encouraged by the environment we're in. While we are seeing instability trickle up a little bit, we're seeing some contamination from activity going on down in Alabama that's inhibiting against some of that instability from fully reaching us. So that doesn't mean we're out of the woods, but that could help to limit some of our severe weather potential. So again, we're not totally out of the woods yet as these storms move east, but maybe that is a little bit of encouragement. Again, this is a very difficult day to forecast. I mentioned that the last few days. Just a lot of dynamics in play. We didn't know how those morning storms would behave. There were several model runs that were picking up on rain pretty much all day, all afternoon, which would usually stabilize our environment, stabilize our atmosphere, but they still wanted to keep the nasty storm fuel coming up this way too, which really defies a lot of logic. But still, we've been very concerned. And there were some model runs that didn't have all that junk and had just a really dangerous situation unfolding this afternoon. And I think we're somewhere kind of in between, trending more towards the rain this earlier today having helped to stabilize our atmosphere somewhat. But again, we're not out of the woods. In fact, new severe thunderstorm warning issued near Pulaski and Lawrenceburg. So, you know, again, that activity is moving northeast towards us. So we're not out of the woods by any means. I would not be surprised if we have some warnings issued. Again, we are under a tornado watch till 9 p.m. And again, all modes of severe weather are still in play. We still have a very significant severe weather threat in place with our, that's way zoomed in. Let's zoom that back out. Split between an enhanced and a moderate risk of severe weather. Moderate risk for areas south of I-40, enhanced farther north. Doesn't really matter where you are in this. There is still a pretty sizable severe weather threat for us for the rest of this afternoon and evening. Just going by the information we have in front of us. And again, if you're just now tuning in, if you're new here, I'm Anthony Taylor. We're live in the Upper Cumberland Weather Studio, the all-new Upper Cumberland Weather Studio, with live coverage of an unfolding severe weather event. And we've been watching this the last several days on the weather models, keeping up with NWS, Storm Prediction Center, and we're now finally getting these storm cells approaching us. So I think Lafayette, Hartsville, Carthage, you'll be the first to see these storms. We have a little bit of convection out ahead of the stronger storms, but this activity from Nashville up into Goodlettsville, east of Springfield, and between Springfield and Portland, that is what's going to be moving into Lafayette, Hartsville, Carthage, probably within the next 45 minutes to an hour. That'll be knocking on your door. So 3:30, maybe pushing 4 p.m. or so for y'all. In fact, let's go back to that Nashville tower cam again, just because we have these storms now into Nashville. So we should have, yep. You can see in real time this storm, again, as it moves into Nashville. Taking a look at some live data from this camera site. Looks like winds right now have gusted to about 23 miles per hour in the last minute. Nothing too terribly intense, but the camera's shaking though. So again, these winds may pick up some more again as the storm moves into Nashville. We're facing towards the west, but again, whiteout conditions. You just can't really see much now. The rain's so heavy. Very intense rain occurring right now in downtown Nashville. And great that we have this view because we can get a good heads up on what these storms may look like as they move into our neck of the woods. Now, that being said, we are in a position for these storms to be potentially a bit more intense here farther east, while we still have some time for the atmosphere to destabilize with no active showers or storms ongoing. So again, lot of questions remain really for the rest of this evening. Again, we'll go back to radar again. So a lot of questions remain as far as how strong will these storms be as they push into our region? Will our atmosphere destabilize just enough to really promote a healthy severe weather risk? Or, will these storms end up being fairly tame because of all the rain we had earlier in the day? Will that help to stabilize things somewhat? Doesn't mean we're out of the woods for severe weather, but could it help to at least limit tornadic potential and may limit us to mostly a damaging wind threat? Again, all those are questions we still have. And again, this show is just now really getting going as these storms push towards the east. Right now located all along the I-65 corridor from Franklin, Kentucky, down to Nashville, Franklin, Tennessee, Williamson County, down towards Lewisburg and Pulaski. And again, there is a severe thunderstorm warning down that way for the threat of damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour and quarter-size hail. So again, this could be a pretty active afternoon for us. Still a lot of wait and see right now. I had planned for this just to be a quick update, but I know a lot of y'all are watching right now. Let me get some viewership numbers. The numbers I have on my end are not fully accurate. It looks like we have nearly 1,000 of you on Facebook right now. I'm sure once these storms actually start to move through our region, those numbers will probably tick upwards. On YouTube, we have a couple different active streams. We have probably a combined viewership of at least 500 people on YouTube, so that's pretty good. And on X, we have another nearly 1,000 people right now watching on X. So pretty good viewership right now, even for these storms to not even be impacting us yet. Western Macon County is soon going to start raining again. Some heavier showers pushing your way. Same for Hartsville, but the heavier activity is still to your west. And again, all this activity is going to be moving into the Upper Cumberland over the next several hours. I think what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to reset. I'm going to take a quick break, and we'll be back live as these storms get closer. So we're going to end the stream on Facebook and X. We're still going to remain live on YouTube with our Upper Cumberland Weather channel. We're just going to return to normal programming, and we'll come back whenever we get this line gets a little bit closer to us, regardless if there's warning. We're going to cover this thing as it moves through the region, regardless if there's any warnings in effect or not. I know a lot of you have storm anxiety. Obviously, there's been a lot of hype with this event. I've tried to temper that hype down just a bit with just good, solid information, just factual information, not overhyping it, because again, there's been a lot of questions with this system. How exactly will it impact us? We've known for several days now it's probably going to be a tornado outbreak for Mississippi and Alabama, and that appears to be unfolding, unfortunately, as we speak. But farther north for us, though, a lot more questions with regards to instability, how morning storms would behave, how our environment would respond to that. So, again, those are things we've been watching for. But, again, still a decent threat of severe weather as we go through the rest of this afternoon and evening. Tornado watch in effect till 9 p.m. So I'm going to sign off momentarily. But, again, I will be back on with additional coverage, continuous coverage, probably in the at least within the next 30 minutes, probably 30 to 45 minutes. I'd say by 3 to 3:15, somewhere in there, we'll probably launch into continuous coverage, unless we have a severe thunderstorm warning issued before then, in which case we'll go wall to wall at that point. So that being said, I'm going to briefly sign off just to take a breather because we have no active warnings here. Y'all, please stay safe. I will be back. So just because I'm not live on air doesn't mean nothing's happening. But again, if there's no active warnings, we're all right. So y'all please stay safe and God bless.